Hi, future Jaydee here. As I'm editing this podcast, the news had broke out that Vince McMahon is stepping down as CEO, which of course has happened after I recorded this podcast. And I'm just throwing this in here during editing, in case you're wondering, hey, why is Jaydee saying these things when Vince McMahon has just stepped down? So you'll hear me say a few things that I would be shocked by, and one of those things had happened. So, craziest thing, I will definitely more likely put out a YouTube video of my reaction to this news, which you'll see this weekend. But yeah, let's get back to the episode.
This is the Wrestlebread Podcast, bringing you the latest news, recaps, and analysis of AEW and WWE. Get the unique perspective from a wrestling fan of over 25 years. Here's your host, Jaydee.
What's going on, guys? This is Jaydee, and this is episode 154 of the Wrestlebread Podcast. So this is sort of like a 153 part 2 technically, but as I had explained in episode 153, I was out for the past couple of weeks due to COVID, and I just felt like I'm just like out of rhythm, I guess you can say. And so like I'm just trying to reset everything, because with COVID and everything, it kind of just like stagnant for a week or two, and so I feel like I've been like thrown off like routines and everything like that, and just mentally as well, because the whole family had caught it. So just trying to get things back together again. Now, I didn't really watch a lot of wrestling this past week, but I can do some recaps of what I saw. But of course, there's been a lot of big news that happened um, recently, including one with Mr. Vince McMahon. Now, apparently, the board is the looking into the fact that Vince McMahon had paid $3 million to a ex-WWE employee who apparently had an affair with him. Now, the surprising part to me is all the people who are shocked by this. I'm going to assume the people who are shocked by this rumor either were not alive during the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression eras, or were not wrestling fans back then. Because when I heard it, I'm shocked that this didn't come out any sooner. Seeing as though Vince McMahon had multiple storylines of having an affair with his wife. The one that everyone remembers is Trish Stratus, and I think there were two others as well, and I completely forgot their names. I think one was Candice Michelle, and then another one I forgot. I know one, it was like Vince's like sex doll or something like that. It was something very weird. And then the other one was like really trying to be like a stepmom. Like I know they were teasing like she would be the stepmom to Stephanie McMahon and stuff like that. But I'm not surprised that he had actual affairs and that he's paying out money and stuff like that. I'm like not surprised. Nothing about this man will surprise me after all the things I've seen him do on live TV. So I'm not shocked by it. I'm not surprised at all. Like I said, I'm surprised it didn't come out any sooner. Because it wasn't like, he was just holding hands with these women when he'd be doing these affair storylines. Like he would be straight up tonguing them down and, doing a lot of like very convincing that he was actually having affairs with these people. One thing I'm not surprised that has come out is, some, people, women coming out saying that they felt uncomfortable about it, because you have to really think, if your boss, of a entertainment company comes to you and they say, or even the creative team says, okay, we have a new storyline for you. You're actually going to be involved in an on-screen affair with Vince McMahon. And it's like, can you say no to something like that? That's the story I'm surprised didn't come out yet. Like, that puts someone in a very uncomfortable position, or even a situation like Miro, where it's like, okay, we have a new storyline for you. Your wife is involved in an on-screen affair with someone else. Like, that puts you in a very uncomfortable position. You can either sit there and say, yeah, I'll do the job and watch my, significant other get tongued down by someone else, or sure, I'll tongue down the owner of the company and make it appear like I'm on an on-screen affair and stuff like that, especially what happened with Trish Stratus with the whole barking like a dog type of situation. But yeah, I'm not surprised that this had happened. I know that they were trying to, now I don't know exactly what they're trying to look and see, because apparently he paid the money out of his own pocket, and that's what a lot of people are like, well, yeah, but he paid the money out of his own pocket. I'm like, yeah, but you have to understand that creates sort of like a hostile work environment if he actually, if this affair stemmed from a storyline that he ended up having to pay the person. I think John Laurinaitis is like involved in this too. I didn't read is too deep into his part. But apparently it's like it's allegations, and so you have to look at it as though this is something that happened decades ago. Is it happening currently? And people are going to defend it. People are going to stop watching it. Me, like I said, this man has done so much on live TV and behind the scenes. Like, nothing about him is going to surprise me. The thing that will surprise me is him retiring while WWE is still, operating. Like, I expect him to live to 105, first of all. I expect him to completely destroy the company right before he goes. Like, he'll be told, like, all right, you have 10 minutes to live, and I fully expect him to destroy WWE, because no one will control WWE unless, if he's not in control. I fully expect that. So if him retiring, him giving the company to his kids or to any third party, that part will surprise me. But all this stuff that he has done, all the scandalous shit that he has done, that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, that man has done a lot of shit on TV and behind the scenes. So, unfortunately, I'm not surprised. And I'm a woman. I'm not surprised that, he is paying out money to former employee. I don't know if it's one person he's paying it to or multiple people he's paying it to, but he has said himself that he had affairs, that he cheated on Linda, which I wasn't surprised about, and I was surprised that information didn't come out any sooner. So he's Vince McMahon. He's full of himself. He has all the power. He's power hungry. You gonna sit here and tell me that he is such an, and we hear about how he's not the nicest person sometimes behind the scenes, and you really expect me to that it's going to come out all sunshine and rainbows behind that? No. Also, and with this happening, there's a rumor that came about that Sasha Banks was released. Of course, no one can confirm the rumor. I think it was Wrestling Inc. that just came out and said that she was released. And then all the other dirt sheets were trying to confirm it. No one can find any information about it. She's still on the roster page as of this recording. And she hasn't said anything, tweeted anything. Things are kind of normal. And my thing with this whole Sasha Banks situation is, if her contract was really supposed to expire, I think it would be technically next month. If her contract was really supposed to technically expire next month, why is she doing all this right now? Like, she could have easily waited to the contract expire and then did whatever she wanted to do. So I don't know if she was trying to, make a stand, because that's the confusing part for me. I can see if her contract expires next year or 2 years or something like that. But if her contract truly expires in 2 months, why would you put yourself in jeopardy to be screwed over? Because they could easily release her the day before her contract expires and screw her over for 90 days. That's the part I'm confused about, if her contract truly expires within 2 months. So of course, people are talking about where, if she was released, what will happen to her. She could easily, try to go back to Hollywood. She was featured in The Mandalorian. She could try to capitalize on that. People are saying she should go to different places. Of course, AEW was thrown out. I say let her go to AEW. Let her go to AEW. Well, I mean, Tony Khan obviously is going to take her because he is a fan first and businessman second. So he's going to take her, and she will be treated very similarly to CM Punk, where, forget your originals and all that other stuff. It is Sasha Banks will get the title within 6 months. Guaranteed if he takes her. And it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing because Sasha Banks will definitely help the women's division. You'll have someone who is that veteran if she plays fair. Because, we've seen how she is with big companies, but however, she'll have a little bit more creative freedom. And I'm very interested to see how she will handle, the creative freedom, because you've been working with, writing companies and having to, be told what storylines, stuff like that you're in. And now, and as we've seen it with other people with who came from WWE, where now you have your own creative freedom, where you create your own character and stuff like that and storylines. You just have to run it past Tony Khan. It's a big difference between having to create your storyline and your promos every single week versus someone doing it for you. So I'm very interested to see how Sasha Banks is going to handle that. Is she going to constantly put herself over? Is she going to, help elevate the women's division? Because they definitely need help. I like, and we saw it with, the way that Thunder Rose is being booked. It just feels like, especially with Jade Cargill, that they just don't have, women who can really come across as competitors for these titles. But we have Athena, we have Toni Storm now, we have Chris Statlander, who, went through a gimmick change and things like that, who are coming out as, people who can legit challenge for the title. We have Thunder Rosa, who's currently the champion, but I feel as though she's not booked as strong as champion than when Britt Baker had the title, or even as Jade Cargill holds the title. And so I feel like if they were to take Sasha Banks, as long as she plays fair and she don't pull, the bullshit that, getting upset and stuff like that, as long as she, plays fair, truthfully, I think she'll definitely be a big help to the division. And as far as and I talked about this whole situation before. I said, hey, if you don't like the job, you are welcome to walk away, but expect the company to, throw out repercussions of it. If I sit there and no show at my job, and if I go up to my boss, toss my laptop on their desk and says, you know what, I'm out, and then not do anything it won't even be, I won't even get a day. I will be let go immediately. So you can't be upset at WWE's response to what she did. If you agree with, her actions, stuff like that, like I said, you have freedom to say, you have freedom to do what you want, but you don't have, you are not immune to the consequences of your freedom of what you say and do. A lot of people kind of forget that part when it comes to freedom of speech. You have freedom of speech, but you can't sit there and be mad at the repercussions of your freedom of speech. So Sasha Banks is free to go in there and curse out Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis and throw the title at their desk, stuff like that, and walk out and stuff like that. She could do that. But now you're at the mercy of your employer, of what they can do with you. Like I said, I fully expect them the day before her contract expire, release her, and then throw that 90-day no-compete clause on her. And then, as we saw, they already did a smear campaign on her for a little bit by releasing that statement. And I expect them to do a lot more to tarnish her image. The only person who will definitely let that go from one ear through the other will be Tony Khan. He'll pick her up in a second. And speaking about Tony Khan and AEW, first of all, Jeff Hardy with the DUI, like, what the fuck? He needs help. I had talked about this previously before when I believe when no I talked about it with I know I talked about it with the Usos. I don't know if I was doing a podcast when he previously got arrested with the DUI, and it's like, come on, he needs help. I know previously before I believe like Matt Hardy and Reba, his wife Reba, were like, I get, I, I don't know if they were downplaying it or something like that, or saying that he doesn't really need the help or something, but Jeff Hardy needs help. Um, and he was arrested with a DUI. The video footage that came out, and everybody was looking to see how AEW would react. Apparently, Tony Khan had spoke to Jeff Hardy, and then they released a statement saying, "We were able to resume contact with Jeff Hardy this afternoon. AEW does not condone Jeff's alleged behavior. We made it clear to Jeff that we'll assist him in getting treatment for substance abuse issues, which he has indicated that he's open to receiving. In the interim, he is suspended without pay, and he can only return to AEW upon successfully completing treatment and maintaining sobriety." And then, of course, they put out the phone number for the national helpline if anyone needs help, which I feel as though is one of the correct ways to go. I mean, this is like what, the third time he's been arrested since 2018 with the DUI, and it kind of makes you wonder when he had walked out in the middle of that match in WWE and they immediately released him. Like, was that alcohol? It wasn't drugs, but it's like, was that alcohol? You know, because we kind of saw it with the match that he had with the Young Bucks. He was, if he was injured or something like that. But now it like kind of makes you ask questions about that. Now I feel as though what is most important is him getting the help. Jon Moxley, got help. He is so much better right now. But I feel as though Jeff Hardy really needs help. And you kind of ask the question, does he need to still wrestle after that? What is the thing that is causing him to drink? Is it him drinking because of wrestling or the injuries from wrestling or something like that? But I don't know. I hope that he really gets the help that he needs and that he comes out of this better and healthier and just able to maintain the sobriety. That's the most important thing. Because people can get all the rehab that they want, but if they are unable to handle themselves once they're back into the real world, then, you're going to keep going through this cycle over and over and over again. So I'm hoping that this is a wake-up call, because if AEW had just simply let him go, he's going to go and wrestle with another company. Like, it doesn't, like, he's going to easily wrestle with another company, and, the issue really doesn't get solved. So, with them adding the stipulation, we'll welcome you back once you go to rehab. I think they were they're going to assist him getting the treatment, stuff like that. Very similar to what happened with Jon Moxley. So I really hope he gets the help that he needs and he comes back 100%. And, fingers crossed that he's able to get through this. So yeah, thoughts and prayers definitely goes out to Jeff Hardy that he gets the help that he needs. I know someone who has dealt with alcoholism, it's a very tough thing to see and experience, especially when someone doesn't want to get the help. But it sounds like off of the statement that he released that Jeff Hardy agreed that he needs help. That's definitely one of the biggest hurdles, is admitting that you have the problem. And the second biggest hurdle is actually going through with getting the treatment that you need. So I'm definitely happy that it looks like that's where we're going. Definitely a bad time for wrestling right now. All the top people are injured. First of all, there's a new report from Fightful that Randy may be out for the remainder of 2022 due to a back issue that he may need surgery. So he's injured. Cody Rhodes is injured and out for the rest of 2022. CM Punk is injured. Bryan Danielson is injured, but it seems like he may still be able to go for the Forbidden Door. We have Adam Cole who's injured. I feel like we're forgetting more people. Sasha Banks is gone. Naomi is, silent and everything like that. So it just really feels like, WWE right now has a problem as far as like top babyface to do a program with Roman Reigns, or like top baby faces to handle the summer. Now they're bringing back John Cena for the 20-year anniversary. It seems like they're going to keep him around for the summer. The rumor is that he will be going against Austin Theory at SummerSlam. We have Riddle, going up against Roman Reigns. Apparently Drew McIntyre and him are going to be facing off at the Clash at the Castle, I think it was. So, and it seems like Roman Reigns is like, look, I'm doing the Brock Lesnar summer schedule. So we won't be seeing too much of him. I don't know how the USA and Fox feels about that, because you're not getting the champion of both your brands on TV constantly. But yeah, it's just going to be a very interesting summer. Speaking of pay-per-views, it has been announced that Extreme Rules is coming to the Extreme Capital, my hometown of Philly. Is coming Saturday, October 8th. Oh, it's a Saturday pay-per-view, which is very fun. The last pay-per-view I went to with WWE was Extreme Rules when it came to Philly in 2019. Of course, that was The Undertaker's last live match at a pay-per-view, I think. I don't know. It's been too long. And also that was the famous one where Brock Lesnar came down and won the title as well. Now, there are two things that are guaranteed to happen. Whenever Extreme Rules is in Philly, we all know that Paul Heyman is going to be there, and we're going to chant ECW at his ass and stuff like that. Does Brock Lesnar return? Now, he is associated with Roman Reigns, so we're going to get that type of situation going. But WWE loves to give us an ECW person whenever they come to Philly, especially when it has to do with Extreme Rules. So we're definitely going to have Paul Heyman there. And Paul Heyman's going to mention, he puts the extreme in extreme, and we're going to chant ECW for him. We may do, another funny chant and stuff like that. Because last time they were in Philly, it was The Undertaker and Roman Reigns versus, I think it was Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. And Undertaker had grabbed the chair at Shane McMahon and ran off, and we started chanting Shane's a pussy. When AEW came to Philly, we chanted fuck Ben Simmons. So I'm very interested to see what we're going to chant this time around. Depends on what's happening around that time. Of course, we're going to have a bunch of Eagles chants, because that will be, football will be around at that point. But we'll see what happens. I may go to this pay-per-view. I have to see what the card is. Definitely got to see what the card is going to look like. Somebody needs to tell WWE that Money in the Bank is coming in 2 weeks. As of right now, the card isn't looking very filled in. We already have 3 competitors for the women's Money in the Bank match, which is Lacey Evans, Liv Morgan, and Alexa Bliss. The Battle of the Blondes as of right now. Nothing has been mentioned for the men's side. So I don't know. It doesn't seem like they're going to be doing any qualifying matches, because, there's only 2 weeks left. You have to do 7 people. So I'm going to assume they're going to do what they sometimes do with Money in the Bank, and they just announce who's going to be on the card. Maybe it'll be 3 from SmackDown, 3 from Raw, and then it'll be, I want to say a Joker, but that's an AEW thing. But I feel like it's going to be maybe a match to see who's going to be the 7th person, or it may actually be a Raw person, because, Raw is the A show. So we'll definitely see a lot of things, interesting things that's coming up. We're going to have Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin in a last laugh match, which I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know if that's a last man standing. And then he lasts for 10 seconds. Like, we're just throwing things to the wall right now. Elias is supposed to be back. I think that's Raw. Elias is supposed to be back to stand by the side with Ezekiel. I feel like this is going to be Ezekiel in a wig and a beard. Hopefully it looks good. And then maybe Elias will appear on screen or something like that. I don't know. Or I don't know. I don't know how we're going to do this, but I'm very interested to see how this is going to get done. We're going to have Roman Reigns returns to television to go against Riddle. I don't know if that match is actually going to happen or if they're going to try to hold off that match for Money in the Bank. And then, yeah, I think that's all that's supposed to happen for SmackDown. But yeah, and then Mustafa Ali has been he's been losing since he returned. We also have Bobby Lashley, who is going against Austin Theory for the title for some reason. Somebody needs to tell him the last title that he lost was the WWE Championship, and that he needs to look. All you got to do is just go to Peacock and check out the WWE. Well, I was about to say WWE Network, but just check out what happened to you. I would say Royal Rumble. We could look. Just go right back to Royal Rumble where you had the title, and then you lost it without losing it at Elimination Chamber. Maybe somebody needs to make sure the wires are all straight in Bobby Lashley's brain. We also had, oh my gosh, it just escaped me. So we have Rhea Ripley going against Bianca Belair for the title. I cannot wait to see that match. I know that's going to be a great match as well. There's also something that I'm forgetting. But yeah, I can't wait to see how all this goes down. And then, what are we doing for Money in the Bank? Because that's in 2 weeks. A pay-per-view that is coming next week is the Forbidden Door pay-per-view featuring AEW versus New Japan Pro Wrestling. And people who we will not see at that pay-per-view is Andrade and the Lucha Bros, and that is due to the partnership some type of thing between AAA, CMLL, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know exactly what it was, and I didn't really look into it. But yeah, sucks for Andrade and the Lucha Bros. So, I need someone to tell Tony Khan that not everybody knows. Stop assuming that people know people from New Japan and expecting people to pop whenever someone from New Japan shows up. Now, I know names. I know Jay White. I know Will Ospreay. Who else? Oh man, it just escaped me who else they feature. But yeah, stop assuming that I know every single person that is coming from New Japan. So I don't know exactly Tanahashi. I don't exactly know really all he knows. They also featured Will Ospreay twice on Rampage and on AEW Dynamite. He went against Dax Harwood on Dynamite. I would admit the match, it was a good match. It just started off a little slow for me, and I've seen the highlights of Will Ospreay versus Jon Moxley, and that match was 20 times more better and exciting than what we got with Dax Harwood. And I feel as though, I felt as though the wrestling styles kind of clashed because Dax Harwood is a very technical, grounded wrestler, and you're putting him against a high flyer, basically, someone very fast paced, stuff like that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't really work. And I feel as though in this match, in the beginning, it took a while for things to kind of gel in. And then once we got towards the later of the match, the speed definitely picked up. But I feel as though if we had Will Ospreay versus Dante Martin, for an example, that match would have been 20 times better. And then people would have been like, okay, that's Will Ospreay. All right, let me go check him out. But I need people to stop assuming that we know everyone that's in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like AEW really needs to, like, they don't even do it for their own people. Just show vignettes of these people, or something of saying, okay, this is who this person is. Give us a couple of highlights instead of just saying, oh, this person won the title this many times. Okay, that's cool if they're just showing up for Dynamite, but if you want me to pay $50 to see these people, you got to give me a little more than that. Like, people know some names, like I said, people probably know who Jay White, heard of Jay White, heard of Will Ospreay, and things like that, but I need a little bit more than that. Now, showing what's going on with the Forbidden Door, we have Jon Moxley versus Tanahashi for the interim AEW World Championship. Jay White going against somebody for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. He's saying it's not going to be Adam Cole and it's not going to be Hangman Page. I don't know who it's going to be. We have apparently Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy for the IWGP United States Championship. Now that's going to be a good match. Don't doubt Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy, if you don't know, he was Fire Ant in Chikara. And I've seen Fire Ant, and I was shocked when I found out that was Orange Cassidy. So that's going to be a pretty good match. It may start off like a little wonky because Orange Cassidy has to do Orange Cassidy stuff. But I think if Orange Cassidy is able to just like put that sloth shit to the side and really go, like we see him happen sometimes he'll get that speed going, I think that's going to be a very good match. We also have Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship, which I find very weird because we're not getting, it's AEW versus AEW, so I don't know what's happening with that. But then we're going to have Pac versus Miro versus the winner of Malachi Black and Penta Oscura versus someone from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I believe I don't know if that's for the, I think it's for the All Atlantic Championship, which I have an issue with that because it says All Atlantic, but you're featuring countries that is neighboring the Pacific Ocean. I mean, I know it's been like a very long time since I took geometry, and I'm assuming the world is still the same since then. But I'm assuming when you say all Atlantic, it means countries that border, or even continents, I would say, that border the Atlantic Ocean. So United States, Canada, you can do the South America countries, Europe, some parts of Africa, maybe Antarctica, if somebody's from Antarctica, Iceland as well. So I'm not understanding how Japan is coming into this. What else they showed? They showed China as well. Like, just I know you don't want to say intercontinental title. I understand that, but I feel as though we could have came up with a better name. I feel as though we could have came up with a better name than that. And I'm wondering, why are we doing this title versus the trios title? You have more trios than you do singles international people. That's what I'm confused about. But and then on top of that, I don't know, like Tony Khan needs to just slow down and just like figure things out, a little bit at a time. You still have a whole promotion that you brought, and you came out and made the big announcement that you brought, and I don't hear about any TV deals. Now, I heard that he spoke about it with someone, that he's looking into the TV deal with them. We need to do something for it, like put out a pay-per-view for Ring of Honor. You're doing this whole partnership with New Japan. I feel as though, maybe in August or something like that, do something with Ring of Honor. Give that time. Okay, you got the New Japan shit in the past. Use the summer to put over, the Ring of Honor talent, and, of course, whatever you're trying to do for All Out. But he needs to concentrate on his own people. Like, you have World Ring of Honor champions just like floating out there, and I don't think he's doing anything on YouTube or anything like that. You just have people in limbo with their jobs. So definitely needs to bring back a TV deal. Now I don't know if he's figuring out what is going to happen with Dynamite, especially since the merger that has happened. I think it's this between Warner and Discovery. I think it was. I forgot exactly what the merger was for, but he definitely needs to figure out something. Um, and then yeah. So, am I looking forward to the New Japan pay-per-view? Somewhat. There are some matches I'm looking forward to. I know Bryan Danielson is hurt, and I'm very interested to see if he is going to be well enough for the pay-per-view, and if he is, who he's going to be going against. Um, I feel as though we definitely need to add one more match to this women's pay-per-view, but right now we have 5 matches announced, and I'm surprised that we don't have 50 at this point, because AEW definitely loves to pack their pay-per-views with as many matches as they can. Um, but you know, this pay-per-view is supposed to come up next week, and so I feel as though we definitely need to kind of speed things up and figure out what it is that we're trying to do. So I'm assuming that next week's Dynamite is going to round out everything, all the matches that is supposed to be appearing. Because this looks like this pay-per-view is going to last like 2 hours at this point, with only 5 matches on it. Not that I'm complaining, but if you're really trying to sell us on this whole New Japan situation, we really need to get things going here. Um, but that's it for the Wrestlebread podcast. I didn't really watch a lot of I didn't really watch too much of SmackDown last week, so that's pretty much all that I got. But thank you so much for listening. Shout out to Julie and Rob Bates from Wrestling Court Podcast and AlternativeMinds.com, Keita and Jay from the Keita and Jay Show, Chris from We Talk Next Podcast, which is featured on the Keita and Jay Show, Nando and Larry from Half K Podcast, Devin Afees from Clark Street Wrestling Podcast, which is coming back, so definitely keep an eye out on their episode that's coming. And also shout out to Straight Talk Wrestling, Circle of Debate, and Top Rope Wrestling podcast as well. Coming up next week, definitely I'm going to do a review of the Forbidden Door. I can't really do predictions because, like I've said, I'm not too familiar with every single person that is with New Japan Pro Wrestling. But I'll definitely give a review and maybe my thoughts and who I think. Well, that would be predictions, but I'll give a review and then give predictions on what I'm very sure, like matches that I know of. Of course, the women's AEW championship, I could definitely 100% give a prediction for, but I feel as though it's not really, it really don't make sense to give predictions on people who I have no idea who they are. So I'll do a review of the Forbidden Door. We'll also be talking about, what the next steps going towards Money in the Bank as well. But be sure to follow me on Twitter at JDC137. That's JAYDEE, the letter C137. And you can also follow the podcast at Wrestlebread. Be sure to click the links in the profiles for the Instagram, the Facebook, and the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Leave a review. Let me know your thoughts. And until next time, guys, peace.